my dear friends, and welcome back to another video. So today we have lots of Star Wars news, and we start with Skeleton Crew. According to a new press release, it's still slated for 2023, which probably means just like the Book of Boba Fett in 2021, it's coming out in late December. It might be pushed back to 2024, but it's still looking like 2023. Ahsoka is in August, and Skeleton Crew looks like it might be the third live-action show of the year. Very exciting if true. Now today we do have a very exciting interview with Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, the director of the 2025 Star Wars movie, but first, Andor Season 2, quote, "It's weirder than you think." This is a very exciting, invaluable article where various cast members tease what's to come. Denise Goff, who plays Dedra Meero, said, quote, "She's about to go hardcore. They say we've seen Meero as a lieutenant and supervisor for the ISB, but Goff says there's more brutality to come. There is more for Dedra we're about to see." And she repeats a line she said before season 1, "She's a woman in a man's world, but she's about to go full Dedra," which means brutality, her love of torture, a horrible human being, but a perfect embodiment of the Empire and a brilliant character. Denise is wonderful. Denise also teases what's in store for Cyril Khan. She says that while Tony Gilroy could have written them in an obvious way, the show is not written for people who write obvious material, so she's teasing some twists. It's going to be weirder than you think. And Kyle Sola, who plays Cyril, says there is a huge question mark over the meeting in that little cupboard in episode 12. That was during the uprising on Ferrix. So is there going to be a weird fascistic romance between them in season 2? He says, "I think they both understand that they need each other, and they need something from each other. They may be stronger together in terms of sharing an objective, which is Cassian Andor." But Carl Sola leaves the interview on a very interesting question. Is there good in him? Is he eventually going to defect? We also have some comments from Genevieve O'Reilly and Adria Arjona, but Tony Gilroy has a very interesting comment. He says, "I think it will be really intriguing to watch how audiences take this. Because in season 2 there's year-long gaps between the episodes, and it's been very exciting to work on. Andor season 2 drops in August of 2024. And so now guys, outside of Star Wars Celebration, we have one of the first times Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy is discussing her upcoming Star Wars film candidly. This is the one about the new Jedi Order with Jedi Master Rey Skywalker, featuring Daisy Ridley. We did of course have that rumour that John Boyega might be involved, and therefore some other sequel characters as well. We can assume that BB-8 is going to be with Rey, and some fans think that by then, Grogu might be involved in the Jedi Order. He's being set up as the second ever Mandalorian Jedi, following in Tarre Vizsla's footsteps, and also mending relations between the Mandalorians and the Jedi. So let's see what she said.
My name is Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, and I am directing the next Star Wars film. I'm excited about bringing Daisy Ridley back into the Star Wars galaxy.
I'm excited too.
In telling her story. I'm excited to be immersed in the Jedi Academy, and I think there is so much excitement around the new Jedi Order.
I think Kathleen Kennedy is the one who said that the Jedi Order at this stage is in disarray. Now, we're not too sure what that means. We don't know if that's going to mean that there are no Jedi around. We don't know how many there are, but I do think that Rey is going to take the role that Luke did after Return of the Jedi. We saw a little bit of this in the Book of Boba Fett, but also in Star Wars Legends, and try and find Force-sensitive younglings. And this might involve Cal Kestis, as I say Grogu, and those figures could be part of rebuilding the Jedi Order. But that could be fascinating, because the big question when it comes to the new Jedi Order is, aside from Rey, where is the Jedi Temple of hers, what's that going to involve, and who are going to be the big villains? Do the Sith re-emerge? Is there a different threat after the First Order? Is there going to be another return for Palpatine? I hope not, but you never know what that's going to be. Let's carry on.
I've always kicked open doors that were previously closed. And I think my feeling is that there is a critical mass of women who have begun to move forward in places that were previously closed to them. I've been a filmmaker and a storyteller for the last 20 years, and a few years ago I began to think about what I wanted to do. Miss Marvel was coming.
So those are the comments that she made. Now, she's very famous for doing Miss Marvel. I'm gonna admit to you guys, I didn't watch Miss Marvel, but I do know it's what Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy is best known for. She's done a lot of documentary work, especially in Pakistan, and also some other projects, but I'm not too familiar with her work, and I think that's the case for a lot of Star Wars fans, because she's not done too much in the space opera, she's not done much in sci-fi, she's very much new to this kind of thing, but I don't deny that she is very talented, and as a fandom I think we're all rooting for the 2000 2025 film to be amazing. We want to be blown away, especially those of us, myself included, who were not too happy with The Rise of Skywalker. We all expected a much more consistent, coherent film that didn't waste time trying to retcon various elements of The Last Jedi, and it was very rushed. But despite my dismay towards that film, I'm very excited for the return of Daisy Ridley. I think this could be a fantastic opportunity for Lucasfilm to learn from its mistakes, especially when it comes to planning a film, because even though they're saying this is a standalone, I think they just want to check the temperature in the room once all is said and done, because if it does well, of course there's going to be sequels. It could be a trilogy, you never know. So fingers crossed she does a good job. I'm rooting for her. I think we all should, but it's interesting to hear her talk about the film. I mean, she doesn't reveal too much, but I think the big onus is on re-establishing the Jedi Order in a brand new period of time. We're 15 years after Episode 9, and this is going to be very, very unique, because they're not tied down in the same way they were for The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, where you have these big legacy characters and you don't know what to do with them. Kathleen Kennedy said she's not going to say yes or no if Luke is going to appear, but his legacy is going to be there. A lot of fans really hope for his Force Ghost. I personally think that'd be an amazing touch, but really it's about Rey's character development. Where does she go next? Where does she go from here? I would say that's more important than anything else that they achieve in this movie, because I want better writing for her. In many ways, I think The Last Jedi, of all of the sequels, and I know this is controversial, has stood the test of time the best. Yes, of course, I think there were decisions that were awful. I don't agree with everything in the film. I don't think it's perfect, but her character was much better in that film when she was Rey Nobody than in the episode that followed, Episode 9, where they decided to make her a Palpatine. But I do think that could be interesting for the next film if they decide to do more with that. Could her Palpatine heritage come back to bite her? Much earlier in the timeline, even before Episode 1, we know from the Plagueis novel that Palpatine did have a big family, House Palpatine. Could there have been more members of his family that survived all these years? Maybe they had kids, like a cousin or something, and that person is Force sensitive and wants to avenge the Palpatine heritage. But as I say, they would do best to stay away from all of that. Give us something new, a new threat, a new evil force, a new fleet, something like that, and maybe, just maybe, we have a very good film on our hands. I am very excited. I'm excited for anything Star Wars that comes out, and I will assess it when it drops. So let's wait and see, fingers crossed, but it was good to hear from Sharmeen herself. Share your thoughts on everything we spoke about in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. May the Force be with you always.